Hi, 8th graders. Today we're going to continue with lesson 2 in statistics called scatter plots and line of best fit. So today the goal is to be able to look at scatter plots and draw a line of best fit, but take it a step further and be able to write the equation of that line that we drew for the best fit. So first question here says scientists are interested in finding out how different species adapt to finding food sources. One group studied crocodilians to find out how their bite force was related to body mass and diet. The data in the table below was used to create the scatter plot on body mass in pounds and bite force in pounds. So all these values in the table here were used to create that scatter plot. So if I look at this, the correlation here looks like as the mass increases, the heavier the crocodilian is, the stronger its bite force is. So I'm looking at a positive correlation. So they took each set of these points here and plotted them on there. So then using that information, they wanted to take it a step further and not just find a positive correlation, but draw the line of best fit. So several students decided to draw lines to represent the trend in the data, the trend in the correlation. Which student drew the best line of best fit? So not all lines are created equally. Which one has the best fit? So if I go through these, Marissa's line is above all the points. So her line's a little bit too high. Sometimes they call that an overestimate, but the line is too high here. Right, you want some of the points on the line, like we kind of have that, but some should be scattered above it and some should be scattered below it. So Marissa's line is not quite in the right spot. So Sal did a little bit better. He's got a few points up top, but most of the points are down low there. So Sal was close, but he was better than Marissa, but not quite there. Let's see. Marissa, she kind of underestimated. Her line is down below. Most of the points are up top, so she's not going to fit either. We want a line that goes straight through the middle of the points, the same amount scattered above as below, and as many points as possible on the line. So we're going to use Patty's line of best fit. She is the best line drawn in there. So then part B says, based on the student who drew the line of best fit, so based on Patty, right? The line of best fit, we're going to predict the crocodilian that weighs 220 pounds, what its bite force is going to be. So if we use Patty's line of best fit, so crocodilian's weight, that's the body mass down here, that's 220. So it looks like this would be 200, this is 250, this is 225. So it looks like we're in between the 200 mark and the 250 mark. We're pretty close to the 250. So more than 800, but less than 900. So looking at those four choices, yep, I would say 890 pounds. We're closer to 900, but more than 800. All right, the next few examples, we're going to look at the line that's already drawn for us, and we're going to be able to figure out the equation of that line. So really, this is taking two skills that we already know and kind of putting them together. So first of all, what type of correlation do you see with all these orange dots? So as x increases, y is increasing. We're going to say it has a positive correlation. So to write the equation of the line of best fit, remember the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. So we have to find the slope and we have to find the y-intercept. So the slope, they're helping us by color coding these two blue points. Those are the 2 points we're going to use to figure out slope. So slope, go over here, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is the point 8, 7. And this is the point 0, 1. So if I take the second y, which is 7, and subtract the first y, which is 1, over the second x, which is 8, minus the first one. So 7 minus 1 is 6, 8 minus 0 is 8, and I can simplify that, divide by 2 to get 3/4. So I know that y equals 3/4 x plus b. So now I have to find the y-intercept. So there's two ways I can do this. The way that always works, I pick up a set of points and I temporarily plug in the x-y pair to find the b. So if I take 8, 7, y is worth 7. When I take 3/4 times the 8 for x, and we're going to find b. So I replaced x and y with numbers from the point they gave us. So if I take 3/4 times 8, 4 goes into 8 twice. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus b equals 7. So if I solve for b, 7 minus 6, 1. b is worth 1. So if I go to write that equation, y equals, the slope was 3/4, y equals 3/4 x, and then the b value was 1. So if I start at 1 and count up 1, 2, 3, write 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can kind of check my equation out right there. So if we take a look at number 2, again, the equation of the trend line drawn. So they have a negative correlation. I want to go back real quick. Notice how we had a positive correlation and our slope was a positive value. That's not just a coincidence that happens. So if I have a negative correlation this time, as x increases, y is decreasing, my slope is going to be negative 2. So I'm looking for the equation is y equals mx plus b. So to find the slope, we're going to take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this line is a good line of best fit because it's right in the middle, some points scattered below it, some scattered above it. I'm going to use these 2 orange points as the points to find the slope. So if I take, let's see, this first point is 0, 7. The second point is 7, 3. So every point is an x followed by a y. This one was first. This one is second. So 3 minus 7 over 7 minus 0. So my slope is negative 4/7. So if I'm writing the equation, I know that y equals negative 4/7 x. And then I still have to figure out the y-intercept. So my first option is to take an xy pair and plug them in. So this x is 0 when y is 7. So if I plug in 7 for y, fix this up a little bit. My pen got a little crazy there. So y is 7 equals negative 4/7. So I use the 7, so I'm going to use 0 for x plus b. We're going to figure out that b value. So 0 times anything is 0. So 0 plus something equals 7. Well, if I have 0, that's not really there. B equals 7. So that means my equation, y equals negative 4/7 x, that's my slope, plus the b value, which is 7. So I started at 7, and I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my equation to fit this line that they drew. Now for these 2 questions, they did give you can see the y-intercept. So this part of the question right here, you might have been able to avoid it once you got the slope if you realized the y-intercept was 7. Same thing if I go back to number 1. I could have saved this part of the work because I can see that this is the y-intercept right on the y-axis. That doesn't always happen. So if we look at number 3, here's a case where the line isn't showing the y-intercept. It's probably somewhere up here higher than 10 for the y-intercept. So I do need to know how to find b when I can't see it on the graph. All right, so what's the equation of the trend line? Well, what is this trend? Positive, negative, or no correlation? Yep, if you said no correlation, you are correct. So equations are y equals mx plus b. My slope, let's see, I'm going to use 4, 8. And I'm going to use 6, 4. So the slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's see, 4 minus 8 over 6 minus 4. So that would be negative 4 over 2, which equals negative 2. So my slope is negative 2. So if I was going to write that equation, I know y equals negative 2x plus the y-intercept that we can't quite see. So all right, well, let's pick one of these points. I'm going to use 6, 4, which is an x and a y. So 4 for y, negative 2 times, let's plug in 6 for x, plus b. So I'm going to multiply those first. So negative 12 plus something equals 4. So if I add 12 to both sides, b is worth 16. So now if I was going to write that equation, y equals negative 2x plus 16. So basically I started up here at 16, went down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, write 1, down 2 more, write another 1. Okay. And that is our first part of writing the equation of the line of best fit.